Hi there, my name's Will Flewelling, and this is my introduction for the Special Education Foundations course on Alliant University. Well, I'm excited to be here. I have a pretty different professional background. I actually come from the business world. I previously have an MBA, did a decade of accounting, spent a decade in the solar industry trying to get that thing up and running, and left that pretty happily, and just sort of bounced around a few different startups and things like that. I live up here in Silicon Valley in San Jose. Spent the last 12 years in Cupertino. Just moved to San Jose last year, mid-pandemic. That was interesting. And so, let's see, in 2013, when my son William was born, I was commuting to the city an hour and a half, sometimes longer, from Cupertino up to San Francisco. And it was a grind, right? And I felt like I was just losing way too much time with my son. So my wife and I sat down and we realized she was making enough as a student advocate at Fremont High School in Sunnyvale, and that I could kind of drop out of the workforce and lean into the family. So I went all in, just doing everything a parent could do for a child in school. I was PTO president and Project Cornerstone lead, just super active, super active. And so over the last 3.5, 4 years, I realized I kind of fell in love with education and just hearing the giggles and the warm fuzzies from all the little kiddos, and it really makes me super happy. This year I've been lucky. I've been one of the lucky few volunteers that have been able to go back to campus. My son's at McAuliffe up here in Saratoga. It's part of Cupertino Union School District, and it's an actual co-op. And it was something I wanted because at his initial school, parent participation wasn't as heavy as I would hoped for. And it was kind of like pulling teeth getting volunteers out. So this school, it's an alternative, and there's parent engagement is mandatory. Each child, each student, you have to give a certain amount of time. So it was right up my family's alley. So I'm now filling that role. Fast forward to this summer, I see this article coming out from the state. Hey, teachers are shortage, substitutes are shortage. We're waiving all sorts of things you need to do. And so I reached out to my district, and they said, yeah, we really need substitutes, so start the application there. I did that a couple months ago, and Sacramento is really kind of pending, so they're taking a while. And so then while I waited on that, I became a noon duty playground supervisor, still just getting my foot in the door at the district. And they sat me down and said, look, Will, you're so involved and tuned in with the community after running for school board a couple times and just being super active. Why don't you think about going back to school and get your credentials? And they said, our biggest gap is special education. We really need help there. So that's a major inspiration. My son William also, he's had an IEP since kindergarten. He had some speech issues. His ear canals were clogged up, unfortunately. We didn't know about it until he went into school. And so they identified it nice and early, got us an IEP. So he's been doing speech and language since he started school pretty much. And just kind of seeing that process has really intrigued me. And once again, I'll go back to my wife. She's been writing IEPs, and she's the service provider in her resource high school. So it just kind of makes sense that we're a family of educators now, and that's kind of the reason why I'm here. There's my professional background. 3 things I hope to learn. I mean, education is new to me, right? I've led teams, I've trained teams doing things like that in the business world, but when it comes to kiddos, not necessarily, So Project Cornerstone was probably my closest thing to having a little bit of a curriculum and a foundation. So I'm hoping to get more of the details behind how you set up a curriculum, and especially the IEP. I'm sure there's certain templates and things you have to learn about, and all sorts of ed code. I've just been random reading, but I'm hoping within this course and the other course, just the basic education one, before starting the internship next year, that we get that foundation, just the basics. And I mean, the McAuliffe way is like you learn by doing, right? You hear and you forget, and you write and you might remember, but by doing, that's how I'm going to really get into the space. So I'm looking forward to getting out there with a solid tool belt of what I need to help kiddos, especially on that mild to moderate spectrum. So I look forward to working with you all and seeing where we go from here. Have a wonderful day.